Here we go. Let's see if CNN has a video explaining what happened.
If nearly half of all blacks are not okay with white people, that's a hate group.
That was the comment that may have ended Scott Adams' newspaper career.
No, I don't
the
think
Dilbert
that
creator
was
referencing a poll from the conservative firm.
I mean, I don't really think that was it. I think it was him saying that white people should stay away from. I feel like that one's way worse. So this is, yeah, anyway, let's read this real quick. Watch
Rasmussen reports that indicated 53% of black Americans agree with the statement, "It's okay to be white," leaving the other 47% to say they disagree or aren't sure. The Anti-Defamation League has noted that that phrase has a long history in the white supremacist movement.
The best advice I would give to white people is to get the hell away from black people.
He continued to double down throughout his show. The Washington Post,
Okay,
Los
so then
Angeles
this does
Times,
happen.
and
Okay,
USA
this is a good article, or a good synopsis of it.
Today among the hundreds of newspapers that denounced Adams and quickly pulled Dilbert. USA Today newspaper CEO Mike Reed.
It was frankly an easy decision. We found the remarks, hateful, hurtful, and they just crossed the line.
But not everyone agrees. Twitter CEO Adams has since tweeted that he was only advising people to avoid hate and suggested that the cancellation of his cartoon signals that free speech in America is under assault.
We believe in free speech. We believe in creating a place for differing points of view, but there's a line that gets crossed where things become racism. And that's not an area we choose to traffic in or participate in.
We did reach out to
What a surprise. Yeah, they don't want to deal. We'll listen to it one more time just for everybody to be on the same page, and then we'll talk about it. Black supremacy is real? Yes, there's people that are racist who are black. Can we please fucking move on? Let's just listen to it again. We'll talk about it. Okay, this isn't, guys, please fucking stop pretending racism is a points game. Let's go. Let's watch it one more time.
If nearly half of all blacks are not okay with white people, that's a hate group.
That was the comment that may have ended Scott Adams' newspaper career. The Dilbert creator referencing a poll from the conservative firm Rasmussen reports that indicated...
Yeah, like, I think that one is bad, but, like, I think it was the next thing that he said.
53% of black Americans agree with the statement, "It's okay to be white," leaving the other 47% to say they disagree or aren't sure. The Anti-Defamation League has noted that that phrase has a long...
I will also say that I think that is a poll that is intentionally... So whenever you do statistics and polling and things like this, there are a lot of ways that you can stack the deck. And the truth is that there are a lot of people that have extremely, like weird pasts saying it's okay to be white. So whenever you take that phrase, it's like Black Lives Matter, for example. Like, I think that there are a lot of people who dislike Black Lives Matter, like as an organization, but there are not that many people who think that Black lives don't matter. Does that make sense? And I think it's the same with this phrase too. So I think this phrase was intentionally used to trigger a more negative response, because the response that would cause people to look at the poll and draw more attention to it would be the more extreme one, which would be the response that implies that black people fundamentally dislike white people. So I think that's why it was structured in that way. And I think this is the Anti-Defamation League is actually right on this. I think that it is a loaded term, and it was used intentionally to elicit a specific response. That's my opinion. Anyway, we'll watch the rest of it.
Long history.
The poll only polled 1,000 people. Yeah, and it just depends. Do you see kind of like where I'm getting at here? Rare ADLW? Yes, it is an ADLW. Like, unironically, absolutely.
White supremacist
It's a leading question.
The best advice I would give to white people is to get the hell away from black people.
That's the bad one. Like, I think that's crazy to say, man. Like, I've watched Scott Adams stuff for like a couple of years, and I do think this has been at least a slow descent. I think he's been saying progressively more extreme stuff over the years. I think this is really over the line. I don't agree with it. And I think it's just as harmful as any other type of racism. This is just, there's no benefit to having this type of discourse. I think that it's reductive, it's backwards, it's not only is it unproductive, but again, it is reductive. Like, it doesn't just take us nowhere, but it moves us backwards. So yeah, I totally disagree with this. I saw it. I mean, whether they cancel Dilbert or not, I mean, that's completely up to them. You know, they're going to make their own decision on that, etc. But the point is that, yeah, I really don't like this type of language, and I find it to be incredibly divisive and harmful to everybody involved. If a black person would say that about white people, it would be 100% acceptable. The U.S. is falling apart. Well, whenever Bruce said that, he got banned for a month. So I can't really, like, whenever I think of, are there a lot of black people that are going out that have as much of a massive, like, outreach saying this exact thing, but in reverse? Like, I don't know, maybe there's like one or two of them, but they're like crazy, and so people don't really give a shit, or something like that. But I don't think that there's a lot of people saying the kind of stuff that Scott's saying here and actually receiving mainstream approval. I really don't think so. I think this is very much an extreme. Let me turn this down a little bit. There we go. Yeah, this is definitely a fucking extreme. Hassan also got banned for anti-white remarks. Yeah. So, I think recognizing it to a degree creates an opposite effect. Well, I don't think so. I think that, yeah, obviously people have their own, own group bias. Yeah, sure they do. But telling people to avoid other people of the opposite race, or, I mean, not opposite race, that's stupid, just of different races, I think is very, very harmful. And it goes against what I think the core of America really is, as cringe and cliche as that sounds. I don't like that at all. Scott's trying to do what Kanye did? Maybe, yeah. As an African American, I can say racism does come from both sides, and it won't stop until both sides stop it. Yeah, 100%, and I think that the best way that you can stop it is, there are a lot of people, and this is unfortunately, there are these, like, radicalized, like, white people, and there's also black people like this too, who think that their side, like, they're being treated in a racist way, so they have to fight fire with fire and be racist to the other side. And I just think that doesn't really help anything. And, yeah. I don't know. I'll read a few comments about this, but I feel like this whole thing's pretty cut and dry, Again, like, Scott has, he has his right, his freedom of speech to say what he thinks. The same as, we all have our freedom of speech to disagree with it. At least hopefully, right? So, yeah, I mean, I'm not saying he shouldn't be allowed to say this. I mean, it's his own right to say it, but I just think it's totally wrong. Let's see here. Disney WB posted tweets and job listings where it says if you're white, then don't even bother to try to apply. Well, I'm not really talking about that. Like, I'm talking about language in this specific way. I'm not saying that there's never been an instance of anti-white racism. I'm not saying that. But just because there are instances of anti-white racism does not mean that instances of, anti-black racism don't happen. And I think this is an instance of anti-black racism, clear as day. Because also, if you look at this poll, and I want to go back and talk about the poll too, the quote right here, "It's okay to be white." So 53% agree that it's okay to be white. I think in order to interpret this correctly, you would probably have to include multiple other questions that are similar to this. So, like, do you feel uncomfortable around white people? Would you mind, like, marrying a white person or something like that? And so, well, the reason why it's not an odd statement. It's crafted intentionally. Now, Rasmussen reports, I'm not very familiar with them, but my understanding is that I think that they're more right-wing. Am I right about that? I don't want to, I'm not going to die on this hill. I don't know. This is just what I've seen. Yes. Okay. Yeah. So they're very right wing, and so let's assume that they're okay. Most people are talking about, it. And I'm not sure it's okay to be any race. Well, I don't. Whatever. But anyway, it's very vague. No, it's not. It's actually not vague at all. So the problem is that the quote "it's okay to be white" has been used by a lot of people that are actually like racist people. You see what I'm saying? So because it's already a charged term, you're not actually asking the person that word, you're asking them what their approval is of that statement. And because that statement has baggage associated with it, then people are not really responding to the words in the statement, they're responding to what the statement represents. So I think this poll is intentionally misleading. Apparently, there were only 1,000 people that were polled, which is a very small amount. Especially, like, imagine if you go and you poll people at a church versus polling people at a supermarket versus polling people, in different types of like demographics. I very much have very little confidence that this is authentic. Like whenever I did a lot of research on the abortion thing and about like what people's approval for abortion was, and I looked at like 25 different charts and reporting, and they all kind of reflected something similar, and I kind of averaged them all together. And it seemed like, for the U.S., about 65% of people are pro-abortion, somewhere around there. If you take men and women and just everybody combined, it's about 65% are pro-abortion. So, and this is not, by the way, I'm not approving this or saying it's bad or anything. I'm just saying that this is what my time doing this is taken, or has led to. And I think that this is intentionally bad. Black people can be racist too, 8%, I agree. Yeah, I mean, this is, again, obviously people are going to be delusional about stuff, etc. But I think that polls like this, especially if it's done by a right-wing organization, I think that polls like this are intentionally crafted because a lot of right-wing rhetoric is reactionary. It's, you're worrying about how, minorities are going to take over or how they're going to invade your space or something like that. So whenever you look at it from that perspective, you have to understand that what will draw more attention and what will draw more engagement towards their Twitter account and towards their business as a whole is to put forward an image of black people that is hostile to white people. Because that's what the people that are subscribed to them, that want to find that content, that's what those people want to hear. You see what I'm saying? They want money, yes. Every term is going to be charged. They need to get offline. Yeah, I think that there are other terms that they could have used that were better. But I'm saying just as a purely, like, I don't know. I think this was a huge fuck up on their end by using this term. Like, just take everything else out of the equation. I think using this term is a huge fuck up. I'll read some comments about this and then I want to move on to something else. I can't understand why it's okay or not okay to be born a certain race. That's because you can't understand it because there's nothing to understand. People are who they are, and their race is just a byproduct of that. Anybody who's fixating on this kind of stuff is probably a fucking moron. Like, holy fuck. Let's see here. I think it's racist to say that right-wing means that you're white. Okay, that's nice. We're not talking about that. Let's see, what else? I have a feeling both political spectrums are just different sides of the same coin. You're definitely right, and they're both getting manipulated into things that are ridiculous. And I think that the average person, you go to Wendy's, you go to Walmart, you go to McDonald's, and you see everybody gets along. Everything's totally fucking fine. But then you go on the internet and you think that, we're having a race war. I think absolutely people go on the internet and lose their fucking minds. 100%. So was he canceled or not? Yeah, I would say he was canceled. I think there will be a chance that, it's very hard for me to say that. I don't know. I mean, just going out and being straight up like he's like advocating for segregation. That's pretty bad. So it's like, it is a private company. Is it the right way? Is it the right thing to do to say something like this, or to not want to promote this? I think the answer to that's probably yeah. I wouldn't want to promote something like this. Does that make sense? You know, J. Cole advocated for segregation. Yeah, but the thing is, J. Cole is a rapper, and he's not really that well known. Who gives a fuck? You see what I'm saying? So, like, there are people that go out and they say really stupid stuff, but they're not massively fucking popular with a huge... Like, the thing is, like, Dilbert is a syndicated... He is? Bro, how many people look at Dilbert versus how many people look at J. Cole? On top of that, whenever you talk about, like, J. Cole doesn't do political commentary. Scott Adams does. So it's more okay for people if some dumbass goes out and says something stupid, like Kanye, for example, because they're expected to be dumbasses. They're not expected to have, like, the right and the best opinions about things. But if you go into this sphere and you say something like this, it's worse because you're supposed to know better. Does that make sense? Boomer take? Oh, it absolutely is a boomer take. You are 100% right. And you know who orders newspapers? Boomers. Like, go ask 100 people that are over the age of 50 who J. Cole is, and then ask them who Dilbert is, and guess what you're gonna fucking get? Yeah, it's not even gonna be a question. That's fair. Yeah, it's their audience. A lot of people only know races, promote segregation. It did not work. Fuck them from promoting these bad ideas again. Yeah, it's just annoying to see this. J. Cole's not advocating for segregation. I don't want to hear about it. I don't really care because we're not talking about J. Cole. If J. Cole gets canceled for something or he says something crazy, then we'll cover it. I don't know what he's talking about. I've seen Hollywood showrunners say some dumb racist shit and their stuff's massively popular. Again, like, I think that whenever something like this happens, everybody goes and they say, well, what about? Well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I can't go and say every single case and evaluate every single one and be like, this is bad, this is good, this is bad, this is good, this is bad, this is good, right? I can't do every single one. The only thing I can do is say in a vacuum, this is bad. And not only is it bad, but it is very bad. Directly advocating for segregation between people based on race. This is fundamentally, like, I don't know, I would say it's like fundamentally antithetical to being an American. Personally. I mean, I don't like it. Not a fan. So yeah. Boomers are going to take up 60% of the population, remember? The silver wave? Well, we'll see. It's true, but don't tie... But how does this tie into your previous statement? That it's bad? I mean, I don't understand. Like, what are you trying to say? Let me see. You said, how is it true? Ain't nothing wrong. I was an extreme out of nowhere. He is, though. J. Cole-based rapper based on his demographic. No. What was a bad take? I don't understand. What am I saying that's disagreeable? It's bad, I agree, but it was a tangent. Well, then what are we talking about? Yeah, I mean, are you a segregation enjoyer? Like, what is this? You got 2 timeouts, apparently. Yeah, fuck them. Not at all. Okay, cool. Well, then what was a bad take then? Scroll up? I'm not going to scroll up. Just type it. Throws his name out there, then says we don't talk about it. It doesn't... I don't... Thought I'd hear segregation enjoyer. There are some crazy people out there. Right, I'm at a loss. I figured the way you portray the situation was wrong. How did I portray it? How was it wrong? Like, but like, what does that mean? Like, please give me some substance to respond to. What is this? What are we doing? Ban him in Soda's chat too? No. Do what's going on? Yeah, I'm so confused. I think we're wasting time. I'll give this guy one more comment, and then after that, we'll, he already made this one. I'll give him one more after this, and then we're just gonna move on. Because I don't want to waste a whole lot of time on this bullshit. You're asking for substance from short messages? Yes. I think there is almost nothing that cannot be summarized in 2 sentences. Almost nothing, especially if it's something that, like, we're not talking about something that, this isn't fucking quantum dynamics. Most things can be, you know, like a thesis sentence. I mean, come on. My bad, fam, didn't mean to cause an uproar when I asked to scroll up because time had passed, I forgot my last message, and okay, alright, let's fucking move on. Thank God that we alright, let's fucking move on. Anyway, so, guys, racism is bad. Okay? Great. Next.
A truth, what needed, truth.